Okay, hello. Welcome to one of the final chats of BIBA 2025. Caroline, thank you so much for joining us today.
You are so welcome.
And Jess, lovely to see you again.
Thank you.
How are your feet doing? Are you surviving BIBA?
I'm back now in trainers. The heels lasted about 4 hours yesterday, and the 3 shoes, BIBA top tip.
That
Switch between the trainers, the heels, and the flip flops. You can't get blisters. A bit of air. It's great.
It's exactly what you said to me about 3 days ago. You said the only thing you need to know is 3 pairs of shoes.
Yeah,
That
Pippa's
is
first
vital.
BIBA.
Vital information. I have to say I'm doing quite well with mine today, though, so I feel quite smug.
Yeah, I did the first year. I thought, oh yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be in heels all day. Greatly mistaken.
So we're about 3-4 hours into the final day of BIBA. Caroline, you just joined us today.
Yes.
What's your take of the day so far?
It's amazing, isn't it? Every time I come to BIBA, I think, what can they do that's going to be new this year? Not necessarily that they have to, because I always really enjoy the vibe, and I see lots of business conversations going on, and I see lots of relationships either starting up or being rekindled. But it feels even fresher this year. There's
almost like an energy about it. I don't know if it's just the wild array of colours that are out on the conference floor, or if it's just something more than that, but it's amazing.
There's definitely a vibe, and there is definitely an energy. I normally focus my day on day 2, because sometimes that's where the opportunity to make a difference is, to sort of bring the energy, because sometimes day 1 is so busy. But I've noticed that other people are bringing the vibe today as well, so it was brilliant to see.
Good. And that really nicely takes us into what are your takeaways that you want to try and achieve today? Have you got a target that you're going for?
Of course I could.
This is Caroline, right? There's always a target.
Of course. Well, we were lucky enough to be invited to speak today on the Fringe. So I've been speaking to the conference organisers for quite a long time now to say we see a lot of focus on the products and services that are changing. And absolutely, I've noticed today, of course, there's a lot more focus on digital acceleration, artificial intelligence, agentic AI. So I'm always interested to see what messages are being put across there. And what I've shared with Emma Chapman, who, as you know, is the fantastic BIBA director. We're talking about the tools that are accelerating, but are we talking about the skills and the techniques that the people that we see at BIBA need to acquire to be able to make the most of those tools and to be able to continue serving their clients as their needs change? So today, Emma said, well, Caroline, come along and talk about it. And you know me, don't have to ask twice. So we had a really great session on the Fringe stage where I talked about the power of curiosity and insights in insurance and what that really means, and how to go about doing it in a process-driven way. So I guess my goals were to really excite people who were listening to that message for the first time, to bring my message of, if curiosity is common sense, why isn't it common practice? To really bring exactly, to really bring that to life, and to accelerate the message that this isn't optional anymore. If you want those clients to stay with you, if you want those accounts to still renew, we cannot rely on what we used to do. We really need to focus all together. All together.
Beautiful. This is going to work so well. There's a saying that goes around our offices at the moment, isn't it, that AI doesn't need to be a threat. It's a wonderful tool, but the people who use AI are going to have that benefit that those who aren't using it might feel. So this sounds like a beautiful conversation starter.
Absolutely. So exactly, to paraphrase what you just said, AI is not a threat, but people who use AI to its best advantage are.
There you go.
And that's kind of a buzz phrase, because there are some still, there are industries where AI, human intellect, human abilities are always going to be needed. But there's no getting away from the fact that artificial intelligence has accelerated at such a pace even now that you can no longer ignore it. If you have got part of your role, or you've got people who are performing jobs that are routine, that have patterns, that have standard themes in them, those are the areas that we really need to we can really shift a lot of that heavy lifting into even more AI automated processes, and free up those individuals to do those things that AI cannot do.
Yeah.
What I think is exciting and terrifying in equal measure, I suppose, is the pace in which this has come about. Because this time last year at BIBA, there were still some cynics about AI. There's still people who were talking. We've all been through change cycles in the insurance industry. I mean, goodness me. Even apprentices have been through change cycles. They've only been here 10 minutes. But what a lot of people have thought is that change, we just go through it, but nothing really, it doesn't ever really affect them.
It's not really going to percolate down to me.
It's not.
It's a very nice conversation.
That's it. Whereas now, I believe that the acceleration of AI is the catalyst that removes that and means that nobody can, and you are at massive risk if you ignore that.
I think so as well, because it touches on every element of life, not only from, say, social channels where people are talking about it and using it to a degree to make content or to write about content, but then right through to every element of professional life as well. I mean, you're a brilliant one for epitomising the curiosity is common sense.
Yeah,
Jess.
like you touched on people and the skills to do it. You have to have people that want to understand how it works, ask a million questions, 5 whys. Been doing that since I came out of the womb, if you ask my parents. But like you said, AI's grown massively recently. But if you take it back to where it actually started, pretty sure the first bit of AI was around Alan Turing and the Enigma code.
Yeah,
That's right.
1960s, I think. Gonna have to fact check me there. But again, like you said, that's people who are noticing patterns in things, and you have to have that kind of brain to understand how that works to do it. At the Markel Tech event that we had last year, Sasha, one of the stats, and you were there as well, she mentioned that I think the very immediate future, it might have even just been the end of this year, you'll have 2 groups of people that use AI and people that are kind of nowhere to be seen because they've been left behind. So you have to be curious, and it's not a case of just doing one course or reading one article and then just being like, it's not a once and done. If it was a once and done, oh my God, I would have so many better night's sleep than what I do. But I'm just, you have to be on it. You have to have your finger on the pulse. Perpetual learning is stuff that you talk about a lot. And you have to be like that, whether that's insurance, your day-to-day life, I don't know, nutrition, fitness, like things are changing all the time. There's new research coming out. There's new tools coming out. You just have to be on it and genuinely want to be on it as well. Like I think we've found this a lot in conversations we've had. Curiosity is kind of common sense, but it's not stuff that people do naturally. People know that they should be curious, but sometimes I don't know what it is.
You don't know where to start sometimes. I think the general conversations need to be, the layman is overwhelmed with it a little bit, and it's finding tools and that strategy and what's relevant to me. And if we bring it back into a sort of business professional context, it's how do I identify those patterns and those processes? What do I then go out and find insofar as a tool or a program or a platform that can help me? And I think that's where programs like your EDIs and the courses that you go on, Jess, are really important, not just for the young generation to sort of say, this is a gap that we can fill because, but also how businesses and teams and mentors can say, this is how we're going to support our existing employee base. 100%. It's not just about progressing upwards, it's about progressing outwards as well.
I totally agree with you. Curiosity delivers insights, and insights can shape action. That's the tricky bit. We often have so much knowledge, but then how do we find time to create those actions? How do we carve out a process within a traditional organization to drive this change where the outcome might be a little uncertain? Because we know that we're a risk adverse risk adverse industry, aren't we? So uncertainty can provide a little bit of discomfort.
Yes.
But ultimately, this is you touched on the courses that EDII does, and Markel's always been a fantastic supporter of the Digital Minds program, put lots of people through it. We use a tool, we use a process called design thinking throughout our programs, because it's a process-driven way of harnessing curiosity, using tools, techniques and systems and then being able to put some rigor around the insight that it provides, and helping you evaluate what should we do with this? What's our corporate strategy? What does this client need? How do we measure what we're finding, what we've found out against their criteria? So what we call it corporately curious. Because ultimately we're in a regulated market. We need to be professional. We need to do something with this data that we are eliciting. So the most important thing that we can do is give people kind of psychological safety to carry out that kind of inquisitivity, but then also bring it back in so it's not wasted.
Context.
Totally.
Absolutely. And very much in our industry, right, we can get very carried away quite quickly with these innovative ideas. And so it's not really fixing the immediate problem of this. And that's, I think, a skill that you have to respond back to the business, take to your exec board and say, we need to do this because.
And it's understanding that problem, right? So not only is it seeing something that somebody else has done and thought, oh, that's an amazing idea, and pitching it. What's the business case? What's it going to achieve? If you don't know that, you can't get to the back end of design thinking. So you can't do the prototype, you can't test it, you can't iteratively change it and make sure it's actually delivering what it wants if you don't know what you're actually trying to solve.
Completely. And I think that's a beautiful thing about partnerships like these as well, where even a company as established as Markel, we can't do everything in-house and you can't be experts at everything.
We can try.
And to be better together with partnerships like yours. And as you said, Markel pushed so many of our employees of all different career levels through Digital Minds, through the EDII programs. We've got tons of other sponsorship and training opportunities as well. What would you say how do we sum that up? If we're looking at a recruitment drive and we're saying there's a skills gap, I want to do this, I've maybe got insurance background or I've maybe got skills background, but how do I bridge the two together? And where does a partnership like this come into that recruitment element?
Oh, it's a really interesting point. Just sort of separate it out slightly, I think. So the partnership angle, I think it's the question is kind of almost as old as time in my world of insurance. We've always had this buy not build or build not buy, or should we do it ourselves? Should we create our own teams, etc. What I'm seeing now is there's a defined term. I'm not sure what the criteria is that indicate this, but we are absolutely in an age of digital acceleration. I don't think many people would dispute that. And what that means is things are moving so fast that no one person or one organization can keep up with everything. So that's why we have organizations that specialize in something. And as a result, the partnership model has never been as important as it is now, because we need the other parts of the puzzle to join forces with us, to be as up to date with those challenges and changes, so that we can just hook in and slot into an established way of working together where we've got trust. We know that these other people are the experts. We know that they understand us. They've got the same values. We've got the same goals. And the partnership model that has been established over time, my goodness, people are really reaping the rewards of that now. If you felt that, you could be an island before, you're probably really searching now for partners who've got a gap.
Very much
because
the
their dance cards
rising,
are full.
The island's getting smaller.
Isn't it? You're kind of like, oops.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have paid more attention to this. Yeah. Because what we're seeing now is like there's organisations like Markel, and you've got enormous partnerships with so many different. Markel is fantastically collegiate, which I absolutely love. And you've got the partnerships with the right organisations that have longevity. And they grow together. So, and the ultimate goal, the values are the same, so that when there is a new challenge or a new opportunity, you're able to accelerate quite rapidly to address it together, as opposed to suddenly being caught off guard and thinking, what do we do about this?
So it gives you the opportunity to pivot and respond in quite an agile way.
Yeah, and if you know, kind of like what you're saying, if you know what the problems are and you know how each other work and you've got the same values, you can do like that. There's vendors that we work with all the time that we go to with God knows what crazy ideas, even the stuff that we're doing at BIBA today, and we have a vision. We know what we want to do. We know why we do it. And we know enough I like to think sometimes we know enough.
We
They're
say we do.
Yeah, we say we do, and they're probably thinking, you have not got a clue what you're talking about. But you then get there, right? You get to the end goal and everyone's happy. There was a podcast that I did earlier with actress and Martin Parker, and we asked about partnerships and what they mean to them. And Martin actually came out within that one was collaboration, but a beneficial collaboration and
for both parties.
For both parties. So yeah, you can have a partnership, but if you kind of got, I don't know, a bit of a gammy leg or a bit of a dead weight, it's not a positive relationship. We need those. It has to work both ways for both parties and be reciprocal, and then everybody wins, right? We win together.
Yeah, you said it before that we work a lot with vendors, particularly when we ran the digital team together, and you extend your team through vendor relationships, and everyone's had really effective ones, less effective ones, and it's amazing what you can achieve when you band together on that shared journey. It may not be through and through what you both want to solely do, but it's a wonderful thing that helps you gain ground really effectively.
Oh, we just need it so much. You talked about recruitment and skills, and oh my goodness, don't we all need additional skills now? We can't get away from the fact we just can't. Insurance. We need to understand our clients' risk. There's
centricity.
Yeah, exactly.
The crux of everything.
Absolutely. Let's not get away from that. We might find ourselves in trouble. But definitely the risks that their business models are absolutely changing. Technology is shifting their operations. It's shifting the cover they need. It's shifting the risks that they face. So we need different ways of thinking about that. And what I'm saying in terms of skill development, we're looking at behaviours and mindset. And in the past, you might have classed those as part and parcel of somebody's personality. What we found is that they've been skillsified, so to speak. So what we might have felt was a personality strength of somebody is now competency. Yeah. So if somebody has the tools to be empathetic, that's a competency. If somebody has the tools to drive curiosity and then be able to evaluate the actions, that's a competency. So we need more people who can appropriately challenge the status quo. We're doing some work with the CII at the moment. They're doing a really nice job on mapping what a professional journey in the insurance industry could look like.
Ooh, it's going to be a big
kind
map.
of start to finish.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, which is great because as you know, when we talk at EDII about the future talent of the insurance industry, my MO is, the majority of it's already here. Mm-hmm. We've got people of all ages and decades, of which I am one, and I have got I'm hoping to be here for decades to come. And I know there's lots of people hoping to be here for decades to come. So when we're talking about future talent, we're talking about whatever age you are. If you're planning on staying relevant, you need to address your career journey. And so the CII have created the professional map. And it was interesting when you were talking about how does that work for recruitment and what skills do we need, etc. So we're helping them with a big body of work. So they've done an enormous amount. They did 3 years of research with insurance practitioners to create the framework in the first place. Nice. And it's really strong and it's solid and it looks really good. But what they're now looking at is what zones do people's careers fall within? How do we don't want to just necessarily say early careers and mid-career now.
Mm-hmm. I like that terminology. It's not stages, it's zones.
It's the zone.
That's nice.
That's it.
Yeah.
And what behaviours and enablers fall within that zone for somebody who's in that stage? Yeah. And the reason for the CII having interest in this is because they are the professional standards body. They're very highly regulated, and as is insurance by the FCA. And the FCA tells us we need to be upstanding and proper to deliver great outcomes for clients. So we need to also kind of be kite marked as a series of individuals to say, I've been approved as being
Yes.
able to deliver
Good
this.
person. Well done.
I am a good person.
Yes.
I've got all of these qualities and criteria that's growing with me. So things like the professional map, putting behaviours and enablers into zones, adds clarity and also adds some consistency. And the idea behind that is all of the stakeholders in the talent and the development world of whether we're recruiting people for a role or whether we are looking how to accelerate somebody in the role, we can have a map that allows us to navigate easily where we think somebody might like to enhance their skill set without necessarily going up a linear pathway,
Yes.
which perhaps would have been the traditional way.
Yes, very much so. That as those zones and roles and responses the businesses need to take, things are going to get wider, different shapes, different sizes. We find that in our team as well, don't we?
The zones change all the time. Like, I think when I was new to insurance 5 years ago, what I thought I was going to be doing now.
You were
is
not.
definitely-
Surely you've been here forever.
No, 5 years,
I
yeah.
can't believe it. What a lot you've achieved in that space of time.
Yeah, it's gone quick. But, like, the stuff that I'm doing now is so different to what I was doing 5 years ago. And to your point about the professional map and career and development, you have to own your own development, right? And it's not necessarily a case of, okay, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Because that role
moves.
It doesn't even exist probably.
Yeah.
So like it's
I know,
tough.
yeah.
It's really hard. Like sit down with Simon all the time. I've had many development conversations with you as well. Like I don't know what that is, but making sure that you have those skills and you're kind of adapting and molding to get there it's the most important thing you can do, and that's the thing that's in your control now.
Absolutely. I think you have a phrase, don't you, Caroline? Is it entrepreneurship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
And I
would
think that sums it up really well.
Yeah, exactly. It's and you're so it's becoming an entrepreneur. So an entrepreneur is somebody who is responsible for bringing their ideas to life independently. They might have investment capital. They might have independent funding, but outside of an organisation, we are responsible for creating progress, bringing ideas to life within an organisation, and that makes us intrapreneurs. There's some slight differences in that we sometimes, we obviously, I say sometimes, most of the time, we should make sure that our initiatives align with corporate strategy, and or address the corporate strategy if we feel that they don't align
If
with
it needs
it.
to change.
Yeah, exactly. But somewhere there needs to be some balance. But we see intrapreneurs passionate about having appropriate influence, not always for a profile, but just because they like to take ownership of something. And you've got a huge amount of people coming in, especially we see this a lot in younger people, they want to come in and have accountability and ownership. So making a space where we bring people in on a early careers type schemes, we want people who think differently, but we've got to be really mindful to make a space where they can be free to think differently. And Markel does this very well.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I like to think I'm one of those people that's always coming out with some form of weird and wacky idea. Normally, aligned with some form of strategy. And if you don't have that space where you can affect change, it can be super frustrating. And you find yourself in this pattern where you have the ideas, you feel like you can't do anything with it, and then people get demotivated with it. So having those kind of, like we've run innovation pods, we've got a change team. We're always trying to do something differently. The 2030 growth strategy for Markel is mad. Absolutely crazy. Like we've just come out the back of the last 5-year growth strategy, and makes me a little bit nervous about everything we've got to do. But
we're already warmed up. We're ready to go.
good nervous and exciting. And there's so many things that we can go after. But again, it's all going to change. Like we can plan it now, and it's just being able to adapt. Like got in your chair earlier saying about agile.
Yeah.
You have to be agile. You have to adapt to it, and kind of to a degree kind of hope for the best that you're going to get there. You've got that degree of certainty that you know that you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing by the company, the right thing by the customer, and you will get there and you'll achieve.
It's
great
so
things.
true. We have to be agile because 18 months ago, we weren't sitting here going, okay, agentic AI is going to be running our call center. It's going to be taking up a significant portion of our call centers.
Or it's the people that were the skeptics and they're like, nah, of course they're not. Chatbot? What's a chatbot?
Absolutely. So we have to absolutely be, have to be able to adapt to those sorts of things. Because as you say, what we can't say is, here's the role that I would like to be doing in the next 5 years. But what we can say is, this is the level of impact I'd like to have. This is the level of influence I'd like to have on the shape of how the business is directing. These are the type of tasks and activities in terms of how rewarding they are. This is what I would like to see in my career.
It's almost like thinking of it as, we talk about hard and soft skills, don't we? But then there's a way that we could frame that in your progression and where you see your career advancing, of hard and soft traits almost, that
Absolutely.
you want to do it, how you want to run your team, how you'd like to be a manager, how you'd like to operate business, things like that.
Jess probably knows this story, but one of the catalysts for me starting EDII as a startup, or the idea of EDII just over 5 years ago, was because I was challenged by, this was in lockdown, and a group of the Digital Minds delegates that we had at the time, we had, as many people did, we were doing evening development things and networking and what have you. And we had a kind of a career development evening. I'm not a career development specialist at all, but I have had some, I've got some experience. So I was kind of like, if you would like to spend some time chatting and I'll give you my opinion, let's do it. And I was asking some of the really talented women on the call, where would they like to get to? What were the barriers and obstacles? And they challenged me back and said, well, what about you? What do you think? What would you like to do? What are your barriers and obstacles? And I was like, oh, hang on. And it gave me pause to think. And I said, well, I've spent my entire career, 35 years, specialty insurers, always working for large corporates, always working for global organizations, which is very comfortable. And taking a risk to grow, to do a startup, and I guess put my money where my mouth is with everything, that made me really uncomfortable.
The opposite, polar opposite.
Polar opposite. But voicing that to them and having them come back to me and say, but you teach us about, evaluating the business case and, doing these things. I do as well. I need to really do this. So sometimes I think you need somebody else to hold a mirror up to you and to stand up and say, well, these are your beliefs. This is your belief system. How does that fit in with where you want to go next? Yeah. And it takes us it definitely took me out of my comfort zone. But had I not had those people that I respected and valued their perspectives, if they hadn't have sort of challenged me to think about it myself, I probably, EDI's gone into year 5 now, and maybe that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. When I'm listening to you both speaking, I keep thinking to myself, this is all about people, very much so. And we talk about the EDI programs and how we can identify and articulate in a much more corporate way what we want to achieve, what are the skill sets, what are the structures we need to apply ourselves within. And then we can talk about the company itself and our clients and who we're responding to and where that structure comes from. And it gets me to thinking about flexible working a little bit and the need to be within a team environment to have an application for these skills and something to respond to. Do you find that's a conversation with your younger generation and older ones for that matter? As a working mum myself, and Jess, you take advantage of flexible working as well for other reasons. Do you think there's a more consistent argument now for being back in the office with people and with a team?
I don't think there's a substitute for in-person development, expertise and relationship building in its entirety. So I as an example, I've run global teams across my many years in insurance where we had star phones on the table where we'd have video conferencing didn't exist. So absolutely it's possible to really succeed and really to execute on your services and delivery without being co-located. Because a lot of the time my team were in Italy or were in India or wherever they may be. But what we did do, we periodically met in person and built relationships. So that when we were then having those non physical interactions, we knew we had a bond to build off of. And I do feel that if you can absolutely have those in-person interactions, there's very little substitute for that.
Yeah. Would you agree with the way you've been?
Yeah, I think so. So obviously I joined Markel during lockdown, had all my interviews in a nice big shiny office, and then straight into lockdown. And we were basically pen pals for 2 years. And I think back in lockdown, when the playing field was kind of level and everybody was in the same boat, I think it was a little bit easier. Like we was talking yesterday, like back in that time of COVID, you have everyone doing their Zoom quizzes, or we had some funky stuff that we did as a team. And
we were in it together.
Everybody was in it. Yeah, everyone was in it together. Everybody was working virtually. But now you've got it on both ends. So you've got early careers, grads, apprentices, people coming in at the early end who need to learn from somebody. But you've also got go-to zones and like mid-career. Markel's got a massive push on career returners. Obviously, Pip, you have been one twice in your time of Markel. And EDII, Career Returners Programme. You've got people at every end of their journey, and to the point of the roles changing and looking at your core skills, your values, your missions, your competencies. They're all going to change, right? So how have you found it? Reverse the question back. Obviously, you've come back twice.
You're doing a Bedford on me.
You've come back twice, Pip. So how have you found that with things changing?
It's funny actually, because I did a relocation as well.
Yeah.
So I was based in our London office, and now I'm based up here in Manchester. And what was the phrase I used the other day? The osmosis of being in the office is something so incredibly valuable. I don't think it's talked about enough. Just having those conversations, particularly in an industry of ours where I think I wrote a handover once when I was going off on leave in just acronyms.
Yeah.
The things that you pick up, the context of all of these specialisms of what an underwriter does, what the claims guys are doing, what the advice lines are doing, especially from someone in a digital marketing capacity, that context is amazing. I love the flexibility, though. If we've got something to do and you've got to go into a deep, dark data hole, there's nothing better than starting a couple of hours early because you don't have the commute and blocking everybody out. But I like people. I like conversations and, being in the office. So I do think it's about picking and choosing. But you have to have those experiences in the office to know what not being in an office is like as well.
Structure within flexibility, isn't it? I think like we found a lot in our team. We kind of had set days at the start, but then especially in London, Thursdays are coming back bigger than better. All the networking events tend to be on that. And if you give people flexible working, but it's not flexible because you have to be in these 3 days, it's not flexible. It's not flexible. Like it's flexible-ish, but not really. And like travel's expensive. For a lot of people, it takes a lot of time. So people don't want to pay sometimes an extra £30-40 to come into the office an extra day, or they've not got childcare because they've not been able to move things around because they've paid, set nursery days and stuff like that. I've heard people speak about. So if we're going flexible, you have to go truly flexible, but then you still need that kind of anchorage, whether it's every month you meet up, or so like for us with the US, like we've worked with them 3-4 years now, and we only met them properly. They've seen them in the UK a few times, but obviously we was with them in Nashville for a whole week. And one, we was at a conference just like BIBA, but all about the tech stack that we use. And I generally think since we went on that conference, even though we spoke to them hours of the day when we was doing the website project constantly, I think we're actually closer than ever with them now.
Makes such a difference. It does make such a difference. We see that with innovation and emerging technology when you're looking at products and services about the work that you can get done if you bring people together in a room and have that physicality where you can create ideas and be able to spot patterns and themes by doing things in person.
I
mean, Pip loves a whiteboard and a post-it note.
It does. We do a really good job of that virtually, and often we have to because we bring in Singapore together with the US and this. We're not going to have them people together, but when you can get together, the excitement and the outcomes that you deliver, they're really tangible.
Very much so. Let's sum it up. One word. What is BIBA 2025 in this conversation that we've had?
I'm going for empowerment.
Nice.
So we've spoken about insights, we've spoken about relationships, we've spoken about creativity, ideas. They're all things that empower people, right? So Empowerment. Good.
Yeah, that's just building on what you just said with empowerment. For the first time, I went to the Women in Insurance breakfast.
Wasn't it fantastic?
Absolutely fantastic.
So good.
I had it in my pocket earlier because
We've got our Tay break.
I gave it to somebody who didn't get one, and I'm so kind that I donated mine. So I'd just like that to be on the podcast, please. Caroline's very generous.
Caroline Chapman.
Yeah,
Great
generous. Standing room only. And I just thought, that a standing room only from 8 a.m. on day 2, we know that not everybody rises early on day 2, do they, for various reasons. So the fact that it was such a buzz, everybody was there listening to the panelists, connecting with each other. Well done, Carpenters Group, for sponsoring it. Well done, BIBA, for having the Women in Insurance breakfast. I'd like to see that regular feature.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have to say what word summed up BIBA, did I?
You said a paragraph.
I did.
One word.
Did I over deliver? I did, didn't I?
We could sum it up for you. Breakfast.
Oh,
Yeah, to be
muffins.
fair, sold at food.
Definitely.
Thank you. I'm going to have to say podcast. This has been a phenomenal couple of days. We've had some really wonderful conversations from all ranges of the insurance industry. So
You have. Well, I've loved walking past and just spotting who's
Only
in
if you
here.
come back in the orange suit.
Whatever Markel's brand is next year, as you know, I will channel it and I will wear it.
Colour palette, man.
Listen.
That's so good.
Well, Jess has got me well trained, so I just know. Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to have a partnership with Markel. It's wonderful to see Markel continue to grow, and as ever, being not just future facing with products and services, but also the skills and the capability and competencies that Markel instills in their staff. It's great to see.
Future thinking.
Very future thinking.
Absolutely. Ladies, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Viv.
you.